Obviously, this is another tactic. He could have turned himself in any other day of the week, but he chose the day after the debates. How do you think this is resonating with Iowans? That's kind of what I want to know at this point. I was just at the Iowa State Fair. I was asking people, if you are, supporting Trump, where do you think these indictments land? Do they impact your decision at all? And people, if they're in the Trump camp, they're kind of in the Trump camp. They're not going to leave just because of a couple more indictments. So, how do you think this is resonating with Iowans?
One of the things that we saw that came out of the recent Iowa poll was that among Trump supporters, they are really Trump supporters, that they are not considering anybody else. About two-thirds, I think, was what the poll showed. About two-thirds of the Trump supporters were not considering anybody else. It was basically Trump or no one. Now, whether if Trump's not doesn't become the nominee, I suppose they probably would pick someone or maybe even not vote, but they just weren't really considering anybody else. And part of this has to do with the indictments, especially after the first one from New York, that seemed just incredibly political. It seemed really a stretch for that particular district attorney to kind of bootstrap misdemeanors into felonies. And what about the statute of limitations? And so it was all very problematic. And it made the later indictments, the two federal ones, for the concealed weapons and January 6 activities, made them colored in political tones as well. And then, of course, now we get the Georgia one, another state indictment, where you've got 18 people and 41 counts and all this kind of stuff. And so, again, it just reemphasizes, reinforces for Trump supporters that it's all political. Now, maybe there is a nugget of seriousness in all of these, especially the ones dealing with the classified documents and the potential cover up for it and all of that. We'll see how that shakes out. Again, a lot of legal experts are all over the place on this. Some saying that it's there's really nothing to it, especially given what happened with other people, Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden himself, and so forth. So we'll see how it all shakes out, but it's not really shaking the resolve of the Trump supporters. But there are other groups of people, Iowans included, that are, look, do we really want to have a president that's got all this other stuff going on? And this was one of the difficulties for the candidates on the debate stage, is that basically you need to support Trump in terms of criticizing these as political indictments, but that doesn't necessarily have to translate to supporting Trump for the nomination. And of course, they're running for that nomination. So they've got to try to find a way to say, yeah, I support Trump, that this is all political, but hey, it's in the past, or we still would rather have Trump focusing on his legal problems. He's not going to have time to focus on being the president. So I want to be the president. So you've got to find that distinction, both in terms of the candidates, but even the voters can make that distinction as well, saying, yeah, I think that this is all political. It's a two-tiered system of justice is the way the Republicans are often talking about it. But I still think that we need to move on, or we still need to find somebody else who's going to be able to focus on the problems of the country, not your personal legal problems.